The lines between humanity and technology are blurring once again. From the stories this week in Take Back Our Tech, episode 14, I'm your host, Hakeem Anwar. This week we're going to cover China's new AI Plus plan. The Chinese State Office has released this long report on how China will become an AI-first society. So I read and translated that report so you didn't have to, and I'm going to show you what life will be like under an AI China. Secondly, a new startup from MIT's Media Lab, several years in the making, will let you speak without moving your lips. The startup called AlterEgo will connect to your face and measure electrical signals to be able to translate that into thought. I'll show you how it works and when you might expect it in devices. WhatsApp whistleblower Ataullah Beg has sued Meta, the parent company of WhatsApp. Beg was the previous head of security, and he's calling out WhatsApp for being insecure. What does he mean exactly? We'll take a look. And for our solution for today, StackWallet, the most private mobile Bitcoin and multi-coin wallet that's also easy to use. I recently talked with the founder and now I'm convinced that this is the best wallet out there. I'm going to show you a little bit about how it works. What if you could communicate without having to talk to anyone? This new startup called AlterEgo launched last week at MIT Media Lab. They put out this new video. Here, check it out for a second. So this is a wearable device that understands what you are thinking. You kind of look like Zoidberg, but it's able to hear your inner voice inside your head. It's not reading your thoughts, but these inner voice have electrical signals that you can measure. And in contrast to Apple and Meta and other companies that are trying to use EEG, this is reading the signals coming off of muscles in your face. And they call this technology silent speech. Now, they say that this is going to help people with speech impediments or without the ability to speak. They'll be able to use this technology to communicate. For other people, I don't really think this is useful at all. If you're sitting in the same room with someone, literally just talk. What is the point of having a conversation like this?
Where do you want to get lunch after this? Thai food could be good.
So as you can see from this video, you don't need to open your mouth. You need to have the silent speech. Now, this is the same inner voice you might use when you're reading something or you're thinking to yourself in your head. But even when you do this, there are subtle movements of internal speech articulators, and that's exactly what AlterEgo uses. Now, earlier information we have on AlterEgo comes from a 2018 study performed by the same founders, and they like to compare their system to the more invasive systems. It's not a direct brain implant like Neuralink. It's not sensors placed on the tongue. It's not EEG. It's placed on the front of the face where you look like Zoidberg from Futurama. How do they actually train it? Well, first, they got study participants, first 3 people, to create this silent speech recognition model where participants would read words in their mind. They would capture the signals and they'd be like, okay, well, this means that. They started with 2 words, yes and no, and then they did 3 phases of studies where they built up the vocabulary from there. There's also different modes. Well, right now you actually have to activate each mode. For instance, there's a math mode where it understands number and arithmetic better. And there's also clock mode, and which will help you get the time for other cities around the world. So the device has to be primed and set for each of these modes. It's not like it's listening to everything in every context at the same time and can understand it. It needs to have these different domains. The coolest technology mentioned in the study was organic. Just the fact that there is this extremely complex process happening when we start speaking and even before we start speaking, and how a thought turns into sound. We really are the most beautiful and wondrous technology that this is attempting to mimic. Seems inferior to voice control. The only benefit is no one can hear you. So if you're not unable to speak or you have a speech impediment, I could see it being useful in some cases. The U.S. National Institute for Deafness saying 1 in 14 people, U.S. children ages 3 to 17, have a disorder related to voice, speech, or language in the past 12 months. I think it is more harmful to say, okay, there's this disorder, let's just slap on some technology for it, and now you basically don't have that problem anymore. Here, now we can just read what you were going to say and you can interact with technology instead of working through that. Which I think is beautiful, even if people have speech impediments, that they choose to work through that and we accept them. The only cool thing would be like if you are speaking a completely different language and to have that translated into, things that you can understand. But even then, you don't need a device like this. We don't need to run more of our communications through technology. And this is Take Back Our Tech channel that's saying that. Technology is a means to bringing people in person and having human experiences, not the opposite. This is not where our human interaction should rely. It's no wonder if there is an international agenda to merge humans and technology alike, that this is flowing down to their projects. Our connection is sacred and we shouldn't completely offset it on technology. After all, we're the most wondrous technology, as this study showed me. So China has released this AI plus plan. It's not just AI, it's AI plus. Plus what? Plus everything. This is a really comprehensive report. I translated it and I got the sense that they want AI to be a leading component of everything in China, from their public governments to their social services to running their industry. They are going all in. And they have a 10-year timeline for this plan. By 2027, they want 70% penetration of these intelligent terminals in different parts of China. And by 2030, this will jump up to 90% penetration in industry. Also very important is this aspect of these intelligent terminals, which can connect to any service in the country. They call it universal connectivity. So what is that? This universal terminal could be in a phone. It could be in a smartwatch or a wearable. It could be in a computer. It could be a panel on a smart home. It could be a panel in a car. And what it seems like is this one single terminal can get you connected to any social service in China, whether that's the police, whether that's news or entertainment, whether that's your social security. And so all of these things will be integrated, or at least AI will be integrated into these intelligent terminals, and they want to spread these throughout China. They looked at 6 different areas where AI could help in China. The first one is to accelerate their scientific discovery process, and their focus is on developing large AI models and data sets. Now, the second area is industrial development, where they want all their factories to be smart factories. Everything from the machinery to the vehicles in operation, all of these will be connected to an AI, and AI might be able to oversee the production planning and operations of these facilities. Now that'll be interesting because it'll be one system, this AI system, having top level control. Now I thought this was interesting, and under the industrial development for agriculture, they're going to use AI applications for things like planting and breeding, not just the machinery at the farms, but the drones and robots to help out with these sorts of things. Oh man. Now, another section of the report is consumption quality, which is how people interact and work with AI applications. This is kind of mentioned throughout the report. AI and human collaboration, from anything from entertainment to education to receiving services, to try and improve how people consume AI. They want all schools and all educational systems to be using AI with interactive agents and testing, that kind of stuff, where there have been times in the past where AI has been helpful to learn, but to impose this on everyone at schools seems a little disturbing. It seems a little disturbing that you could have a data set for here's what people need to be educated, here's what people need to learn, and then be able to change that all at once and have that reflect in all the AI models that people use. It seems like a way to centralize control of information further. They also talked about this public security governance system that not only governs natural persons, as it did already in China, at least that's what the government wants, but digital person and robots, so that if a law is passed, people can take it on their own record to read the law and to follow it, to not follow it. But these digital persons, these AI agents or robots, that's a programmatic change to update the law and have that flow into how these AI agents and intelligent terminals interact. In the technology area of the report, they want to focus on specific industries like biomanufacturing, quantum technology, and 6G. For those of you paying attention to the nanotech issue, that's definitely going to scare some people. 6G kind of makes sense. They're going to need more throughput for the way they communicate with these smart robots and devices that are going to be connected all the time and also feeding back data to this AI system. It's crazy to see such an in-depth and impactful plan to every single sector in the country. China has taken the lead in an AI report like this. I haven't seen anything as thorough from another country, but it's a little bit scary because we all know how China's social credit system is already engineered. When you walk outside of your neighborhood, there's, at least during the pandemic, we saw that you had to scan your vaccine passport. So to now take these intelligent terminals and to add more features onto them, on one hand, it's more convenient. On the other hand, they are going to have even more information and be able to impact and influence even more aspects of other people's lives. All right, imagine being the head of security for a very large company, complaining to that company, hey, you don't have any security, you don't even know what data you're collecting. And then after that point, being threatened, being gaslighted, being micromanaged. That's exactly what happened to Ayatollah Beg, the ex-head of security for WhatsApp. And he's now suing Meta as a whistleblower. He was fired from his position this past year in February, and he says that Meta retaliated against him when he started pointing out problems. Now, I read through almost all of his suit against Meta, and he bases his information why this is a legal risk to Meta because, and I didn't even know this, Meta paid a $5 billion penalty, the largest fine ever, 20 times the largest previous penalty, for its security claims to not represent its privacy or security claims for people's information, such as IP addresses and location. Now, Ayatollah Beg, he had 20 years of experience. He worked for places like PayPal and Capital One. And it's very interesting because of his work in Meta, he was actually doing his work, and that was part of the problem. He was running a red team program inside of WhatsApp, which is a common cybersecurity activity where you pretend you're an attacker and you attack WhatsApp in a realistic setting. And by doing this, he discovered that 1,500 engineers, many engineers across WhatsApp, had production access to data. They could take information such as address books or friends' contacts information without people knowing. Now, this isn't the content of the messages. He hasn't said that explicitly in his suit, but it's pretty much everything else, the metadata. And WhatsApp was crippling his ability to actually improve security. With 1,200 engineers at WhatsApp total, which this is interesting now because I'm going off of the suit, I'm guessing there are other engineers in Meta that have access to WhatsApp data. There's only 1,200 engineers for WhatsApp in total, and there's only 6 engineers working on security. Now, what Beg found was pretty funny from a corporate setting. This is exactly why I don't work for big corporations anymore. But the engineers prioritized busy work and not actually improving anything. They would create bugs for themselves, they would break things and fix them, and they would just do this a lot. He was trying to improve things at WhatsApp from 2022 to 2024. And before this, he was getting great performance reviews, but after bringing this up and explicitly in a September 8th, 2022 meeting, when he shared an agenda detailing all of these issues, which I'll go into, and he's saying that Meta wasn't meeting its legal obligations under SEC, FTC settlements, then the retaliation started. So it's interesting when he brings up these severe cybersecurity issues, that's when it starts happening. When he brings in that legal component, that's when he starts to get this retaliation. It's almost like they're trying to hide it, they're trying to threaten him to not bring it up. Now, what issues did he actually see? Well, he found that WhatsApp didn't even know how much data it collected across the entire application. There's no comprehensive list of things that it collects per user or group chat. And more importantly, even though this data is being collected, it did not know where it stored the data or all the different systems that store the data. There's no data inventory. And he found through his red teaming exercises that 1,500 engineers across Meta, not just WhatsApp, but it has to be, because he only mentioned 1,200 engineers in WhatsApp, other engineers in Meta could access user data without restriction, could find and you know, if a politician or an elected government official uses WhatsApp, they could literally find their location through their IP address and see who they were messaging. There was no audit log for things like this. There's no way to discover a data breach. It's just an open system that anyone can use. The large takeaway from this is at their surface, these big tech companies look very impressive. They pay everyone a lot. But in reality, all the engineers are just doing busy work. This so-called marketing towards privacy and security, they don't even know how much data that they're collecting. This is coming from the head of security. This is not just another cog in the machine. This is the head of security saying that there was almost no security. Now, why would WhatsApp design a product that was going to fail by design according to its commitments to privacy and security? Well, one, maybe there is a reason. There's another purpose for WhatsApp besides losing billions of dollars a year. It's a very useful tool to collect information. And leaving that open to a large number of engineers where, hey, a lot of these engineers are from the US, some of them can be from other countries, Russia, China, Israel, other world players. Any one of these engineers, if approached, could gather data on anyone using WhatsApp. So it seems like a giant backdoor left open conveniently so WhatsApp can serve as its true function, which is a surveillance tool. That works for many people, but you can also be targeted. So now I'm going to say at least your metadata within WhatsApp, according to this suit, that we can see that this person is going on record and risking their reputation. We can see that it's not private. Your metadata is not private on WhatsApp. And we really need to start using decentralized solutions that WhatsApp was originally built off of in the first place. WhatsApp was originally built off of XMPP. We need to all start using XMPP because it's something we can run ourselves and we can individually have control over the metadata and what we see and find people that we trust to run their servers. All right, my friends, it's time for today's solution of the day. Today we're going to be looking at StackWallet, which is an open source multi-coin wallet with an amazing experience. And I had the pleasure of speaking with the developer a week or two ago, and I really liked his philosophy. Without further ado, let's open up our overhead cam for the first time. I set this up for you guys, but I haven't had a chance to use it. And so you can go to stackwallet.com and you can see there's a button to download. You can get it on pretty much any platform, really. Linux, there is a desktop app, which I haven't used. If you want to get it on F-Droid, remember you do need to add this URL to your F-Droid repositories. It gives you steps right there. I'll let you guys follow along. I have gone ahead and done that already, so I believe my repository is up to date. StackWallet, there we go. Now there are two different versions of StackWallet. There's StackDuo and there's StackWallet. StackDuo only does Bitcoin and Monero. StackWallet, however, will do everything. Well, not everything. It does all the coins, and we'll go ahead and take a look through that. So I'll catch you here after the download. All right, so the download is finished. Let's go ahead and install and see how it goes. Download's ready. let's go ahead and get into this. Now I couldn't use my normal screen for this that I usually do, because it actually has a security feature where it blocks out the entire screen as a security feature for putting in passwords, but now you'll be able to see everything. So there are two different experiences. There is the newbie experience and there is the incognito privacy conscious experience. So the main difference, it looks like, is that the CoinGecko is disabled, so you can't see the actual market value in dollars for your coins. You're not seeing your wallet value, and so you're not making that third-party connection to CoinGecko. But if you want something easy and you want something usable, let's go ahead and create a pin. I create a very secure pin here, as you can see. Don't try and guess it. I know it's hard. And then you can also secure it with your biometrics on the phone if you have a fingerprint or anything like that. Now here's the cool part, is how many coins StackWallet can actually support. So there's Bitcoin and Monero, of course, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Frost, I don't know what that is, Dash, Dogecoin, Epic Cash, Fire, all these ones. I'm not a crypto expert. I don't know a lot of these, but it is really cool that it supports this many. I mainly use it for Bitcoin and Monero, which is really cool. There's also Ethereum tokens, it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a Monero wallet. Let's go ahead and say yes. I'm gonna create a new wallet. I'm going to actually create it on this end. You're not gonna miss much here. You're just not gonna see my seed phrase. Sorry guys, won't know my seed phrase. In case I send some money to this. Important, you're gonna be given your 16 words for your recovery phrase, and after you save those, which I'll do so in some notes. All right, let's see, notes. There is a test that it'll give you, and great. So now my wallet is set up after I've confirmed my seed phrase, and you can see this is the CoinGecko call. Wow, it's actually back to $300, which is amazing after the fall it took earlier this time. Now, one really cool thing about StackWallet is that it will actually use these nodes. Now you can add a different node, but StackWallet already runs nodes for many coins. I haven't gone through and tested every one, but at least for Bitcoin and Monero. And what I've been told from the developer is that they delete logs every 7 days. And I think that's a great policy. That's reasonable because someone might try and DDoS your node or otherwise attack it, so you want to have logs for that. But after 7 days deleting the logs, I think that is very private, and I recommended that he should maybe start a service where he does high quality nodes that don't spy on you. Of course, if you've been reading my work and you've looked at the Monero tries to trace IRS, you know that spy nodes are definitely a problem. If you connect directly to a public Monero node that happens to be a spy, they can learn a bit of information about your transactions. So it's good to use a provider or a node that you trust. So you can see it's really easy to receive Monero. You get a QR code that people can scan. It's also very easy to sell it. You can scan the QR code. You can find a person in your address book. You can also leave a note for yourself. And yeah, I just greatly appreciate all of the different features in here. Now this is a feature for swapping that they've added, and this is the only way that I know of that StackWallet makes money. But it's really, really cool because you can take the Monero in your wallet and swap it for another coin. This makes it really simple to not have to use a third-party service or worry about anything like that. It's all built in. I am not remembering off the top of my head which swap service they use. Maybe I'll add that, or someone could comment in the description here. I particularly don't swap very much. I try and go directly to this, to peer-to-peer platforms. This is also really cool. I've been told they're working on gift cards, and it seems like there's a way to buy Bitcoin as well. So there may be providers that this hooks up with where you can put in, hey, I want to buy $15. Let's say $50. Let's do Monero. Can I do Monero? No, you can't do Monero because it's been taking off all the exchanges. And there we go. You got part of my seed phrase there. It's okay, guys. There's not going to be anything in the wallet. Sorry. And yeah, So if I had a Bitcoin wallet, I could choose it, and I'm guessing it would open up the quote in a browser window or something for me to buy. So this wallet really does a lot to improve your privacy, and it's an open source wallet. There's no tracking. They don't even really know how many people are using it. They're deleting the logs off the nodes. I really like all of these things. I really like that it's Monero first wallet. So go ahead and check it out. Again, that's at StackWallet.com, and I'm going to be interviewing the developer soon for TBOT. For our announcements this week, I will remind you of the digital ID report I'm working on. I'm putting on the final touches for it and drafting the document, so that will be available soon. If you want to get that report, we're doing it as part of Above Thought Leadership. Go ahead and sign up for that. We should have that form ready for you. Also, our webinar for this month in September, at the end of this month, will be our Media Mastery webinar. So if you go to abovephone.com/webinar, you'll see Media Mastery open source photo and video editing. That will be September 29th at 12 p.m. Now, AI is already scanning all the photos in your phone, both on Google and Apple. You could turn that off if you want, but it turns back on by itself. We'll look at how we'll actually edit your photos and videos on open source platforms like Above Phone. So check it out. You're not going to want to miss this. It's going to be really cool. You can sign up there on our list. If the form doesn't work, we've been having form problems, just chat with us on the chat box, and we will make sure to get you added to the list. I am also still working on my series on school surveillance. I can't say too much quite yet, but I hope to have it done by September. You'll hear more soon. So sign up for our mailing list at takebackourtech.org if you want to be the first to know. And yes, those are all the announcements I have for you today. Always remember, our connection is sacred. Peace.